Greetings everyone. Welcome to the third episode of LMU and SOC Talks. This is a very special episode because this is for the first time that we have taken LMU and SOC Talks to a visual medium and my team has asked me to act cool. In this episode, I have interviewed Ms. Taruka Srivastav. Ms. Taruka is a former Asian Games athlete and she has a working experience of more than 12 years in social media marketing for sports teams. She has worked for BBC, Manchester United, UNICEF, to name a few. She is a wonderful soul, and it was very inspiring talking to her. This episode is specially meant for the youth because they will be encouraged to follow their passion and see how they can achieve a lot even in a society which is so demoralizing, and the fact that they demoralize is just a reflection of them, and our reflection is how we react to situations. For my team and I, this particular episode was very enriching, and we were not only charmed by her beautiful smile but also inspired by her story. Thank you so much, and now over to you. Greetings to all the viewers. So here we have Miss Taruka. Hi Taruka, how are you?
I'm good, Kinjal. How are you doing?
I've been doing great. So this is a very special podcast. This will be a conversational one, and this is for the first time that we are going, we'll be posting a video of our podcast. This is not just an audio one. So Taruka, tell the audience something about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Taruka. I am a former Asian Games athlete. I represented India at the Asian Games in 2010. I'm a former marching. I passed out in 2010 from Ramat Lucknow. And I'm a journalist, sports journalist. I write a lot about sports. And I also work as a communication consultant with the UP government. So that's me.
So here we got to know something about Taruka. Now, from a girl who played, tennis at the age of 10 to representing India at international tournaments such as the Asian Games. When did you realize sports is what you want to do, and what unknown hardships are sports people in India likely to face as a part of their journey?
Okay, so to answer your question, my mother is a gymnastics player and a coach now. Sports is sort of in my blood. So it was a very natural transition that like everyone knew that I'm going to take up any sport. So I did gymnastics initially, but then I was very fascinated by tennis, And then I took up tennis and I was really doing well. I won all the district competition, district level and then state level, and I started performing really well on the national scene. And I got serious about it. And thankfully my school, which is Lamartine, was very encouraging, they would allow me to skip the assembly because I would come directly from practices, and also go back early if required from school to the stadium. Your next question about hardship, it's a very, very difficult space to be in. Sports is actually great. I mean, it helps mold your personality. It gives you good, different perspective on life. But it's not an easy task to succeed in sports. Primarily, yes, cricket, it's very popular. A lot of people play cricket, and obviously, thanks to a lot of other sports persons, we're seeing more and more sports people coming up, and more people taking up sports like badminton and tennis, weightlifting, boxing. So this wave has come very recently. But when I used to play, there was no support. I mean, and tennis is a very, it's a very financial heavy sport. Like you need to invest a lot. And I have a single mother, so it was really tough for me, to put a lot of pressure on my mother. But yes, she's always been there, always encouraged me, and she did everything she could to help me in my journey, and everything I would do her because of her sacrifices. Because our rackets are so expensive. We have to travel a lot for tournaments, and but the good thing is, if you're very passionate about something, you need to go for it. I mean, yes, there will be obstacles, there will be hardships, but I think you'll find a way around it. Your dedication, your determination will be rewarded for sure. So whatever it is, whether it's sports or whatever career you choose, if you're really passionate, dedicated, just go for it. I mean, things will work out. They will look difficult, of course. There were a lot of difficult times I had to face, but I think I sailed through all of them, and it made me a better person, a better player. So yes, chase your dreams, no matter how hard it looks.
So talking about having a single mother, so your mother must have had, you must have inherited this from your mother herself. But I would still like to ask you, it must have been very difficult seeing the gender norms in our nation to pick a field which is unconventional, and then from a gender which is also considered to be, having lesser opportunities as compared to other genders. So how was gender playing a role in all the journey of yours?
Yes, so I, even I am very vocal about women should be at the forefront. And of course, it is difficult because, firstly, they start with, talking about, oh, you look so petite, can you even hold a racket? Or you're not that strong. And then it moves on to the next level, like, oh, if you play too much outdoor, you'll get tan, nobody's going to marry you, you won't look good, boys are not going to talk to you. So these are the, these are very many, like, tiny things which people keep, throwing around. But these are actually inconsequential when you look at the bigger picture. Because, and I think many of us have evolved, but of course, not all of us have evolved. So there is still a lot of gender stereotyping. And yes, being a single mother, it's tough because my mother also had to face a lot of hardships, because, but thankfully with everyone's support and my mom's family side was very supportive. And my mom herself, she's like a superwoman. So, she's done everything on her own, achieved everything on her own. So she's quite confident about herself. So I think I get that confidence from her, and the ability to sail through any hardship life throws at you is what I've learned from my mom. And no matter what people say, I think you need to do what you think you need to do. That's it.
I mean, that's something I really agree to, because, having, that kind of support in India, and especially when we talk about India, it's not very easy that you get supportive parents. Now, the fact that you've got one is something commendable. So I praise your mother a lot on that, and I'm very thankful that she raised a daughter like you. Now, the next thing that I'd like to ask you is that you have worked, or you have played on an international level. So you've been on that particular level where you must have interacted with people from different nations. So what's their perspective about Indians and, how we play sports or sports in general? So what's their perspective and how do they go about it?
Okay, so generally I've interacted, like I have friends all across the globe. I think, they have a great system in place. When you go abroad, they have, they focus a lot on the mental health as well, not just the physical aspect of it, which is something we have been lacking since forever. It's just not very recently that conversation around mental health has started picking up pace. But at my time, it was still not very, rampant. Like, people were not talking about the importance of mental health and putting your mental fitness first. So it was, I think when I was playing, I lacked it. I mean, I was determined, yes, but I think maybe I needed to be more mentally fit to take on those challenges, because, sometimes you do get overwhelmed because I was the best player where I used to practice. And if you go abroad, they play a lot of tournaments, and they're competing with players better than them, or just they're competing all around the year. So that helps you gain experience, better your game and improve your game, which is actually still not possible for a lot of tennis players in India. There are few who are, of course, backed by sponsorship, but tennis is a very, like I earlier said, you have to invest a lot in tennis financially. And yes, so what I learned from others was there's a set system in place for everything, even for the education, like, the not required. In ours, education is a priority, of course, and we somehow cannot escape that system, even though we might try our best. So there were academies, there were training diets, your mental fitness coach, physiotherapist, massagist, or So there are a lot of these aspects and elements which I never got in my tennis career, which others have. So, but yes, like I said, it's slowly picking up pace. Things are getting better and moving in the right direction. But of course, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's something which I've personally noticed, because a few days back when the Olympics happened, now everyone is talking about Olympics these days. But again, after some time, that sports fever that is there in the country right now will go down. And that is something which we've noticed as a pattern. So they make one human, they start worshipping them once they've achieved something, and then they do not try to make more humans like that, right? So that is one problem which I have personally recognized in our nation. Now, talking about nations, now you are someone who has been involved in the field of social media. So how do you see social media playing a major role in a country's overall development and growth? And how do you see social media helping a country interact with other nations? Because see, there are opinions that are being posted on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook on a daily basis. People as young as me, people as young as you, or people even as old as 60-year-old people, right? All of them are posting their opinions on the internet. But when there is a large amount of people who are posting the same thing from a particular region, it becomes the perspective of that particular region. So is that playing some role in the international world? So what is your opinion about that? Being a social media expert, you might be having something to say about it.
Okay, so I think, of course, now it may seem like social media is all cluttered, and it is actually quite cluttered. So, but honestly, it's a very, very powerful platform if you want to spread goodness in this world or spread about good things. Like, for example, we saw during COVID, there were a lot of, requests which came on Twitter for different reasons, and people were able to reach out to them. And not just COVID, actually, we've seen on so many other occasions. So I think we need to declutter Twitter or Facebook or in Instagram, and we need to post more, something inspiring, something more which helps people, countries build rather than break.
Podcast.
And yes, so I think yes, like, so, and also I think people also need to take cognizance, because it's on every individual as well that they do their research. Where are they taking in their information from? So they should always back check about an organization or a particular handle or a particular podcast. You should always do your research and not depend on anyone, because we've seen the best also go wrong sometimes, right? But yes, of course, social media is a great tool where we've seen countries have helped each other, and they've posted about it, and the bond has only strengthened. Like, in terms of the most recent event we can talk about is vaccines. When a country was short in supply and the other country noticed about it, they sent a vaccine. Or if their diplomats are in some sort of trouble and they reach out via Twitter and the countries help. So, there's a good camaraderie. But of course, there are negatives to it, and like everything has pros and cons. So it has its own cons. But with us, like people like you're the upcoming generation, our generation, we like to do our own research. We do not fall for a set narrative or an agenda. We try to do our own research, and then perhaps when we have sources of information from different sources, we can weigh in what is good, what is bad, and we can use our best knowledge forward to decide or to culminate into what's actually important.
Okay, so the next question that I have for you is that, seeing your track record, you went into sports, then you even got a scholarship, and then you came to this media field. So what was the journey like? And if you want to, inspire other people, because you've been seen to change your career options and you have opened other options, and wherever you went, you have succeeded and you have flourished. So what is your opinion to people who are unsure about their career, who are unsure about what they want to do in life? And how can you reassure them that even if they are not, confirmed as to what they want to do right now, it's absolutely fine, and how they can go about it? Is there any advice that you want to give?
Yes, definitely. I think I was I wasn't sure because I know nothing apart from sports. I was good with writing. I was good academically. I was good. So I got into St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, on academics. So I think from there, because I wanted to stay connected with sports, I delved into sports writing and sports journalism. I used to interview a lot of people. And then I thought it was a good way to be connected with sports. And because that is my forte, I understood sports from a player's perspective. And now I had to, switch over to the other side. So it helps. It helps definitely. But if someone was to ask me, did I know I always wanted to be, write and be communication consultant, or start my own the Playnox, my own website, I would have said no. So I think you keep, as you grow, as you experiment with different things you might like, and you meet more people, you go out, travel the world, you see different things, and then you sort of realize what you want to do. So it's pretty actually. There are no set rules. So I think whatever you want to do in life, you should totally go ahead and do it. Do not be scared or overwhelmed. Ki, oh my God, if this is going to happen, there is, you're not like, we have boxed ourselves into these notions of success and failures. There's nothing like it. As long as you're trying, you're doing great. So you have to keep trying, whatever it is. And sometimes there might not be good days, or something might not be working out. Fine, try something else. Like, you have the whole world to yourself. Experiment, see what you can pursue. It could be a passion or an acquired skill, or maybe something you just sort of found interest in. Like esports was never there. Now it's a full-time career for many people, right? So it's like that. Like, focus on what you like, what you enjoy doing, and it's not like pressurizing you. And I'm sure things will turn into your favor.
So if we join the dots, so whenever people are trying to do what they like to do, right, and what they want to do, for instance, their passion, it is very common that the society might demoralize them. So, and that has happened to you over time as well. So, and you also talked about mental health. So I'm pretty sure that the two things are quite related, because when someone demoralizes you, it actually has a negative impact on your mental health. And you also, doubt yourself that whether I'll be able to do this thing or not, whether maybe it is a possibility that these people are right. Maybe they are saying the correct thing. Maybe I'm not meant for this field. So how to cope up with that, and how to identify what your true purpose in life is?
Okay, so honestly, I've never been demoralized by society. I've never given into societal norms. So I don't think you should be bothered about anyone. The only person you need to focus is on yourself, on what you want to do, and what you have to get out of your life. So do not let anything demoralize you, or even there is something which might be bothering you, talk it out. It's fine. I mean, we all have been through phases of confusion and like not being very sure, but that happens with the best of us. So just do not let it put you down. Like, fall 7 times, get up 8. So always remember that. Like, do not give in, do not give up into any pressure. Your life is your life. To be honest, nobody is bothered. You have to make your own life. You have to pay your own rent. So you have to figure out a way for yourself. So never let anything demoralize you, and mental health should be priority. Like, we all have ups and downs. That's life. But even in your downs, do not remember that the sun is going to shine the next day. It's going to come out the next day, no matter how bad the storm is. The sun is eventually going to come out. So just, you have to be confident, be mentally strong, be prepared. There are going to be failures in life. There are going to be disappointments in life. But you always have to look up. You always have to keep moving forward every time. Like, you cannot afford to keep looking back. Look back only to see how far you've come and the obstacles you've been able to overcome.
So basic advice is, like, you can ask yourself whether this, and whatever people are saying, how, no matter how bad it is, or how criticizing it may sound, is it going to affect me as an individual after 5 years? If it is going to affect me, then obviously I should think about it. If I should care about it. But if it is not going to matter to me after 5 years, if my friend's opinion does not matter to me after 5 years, then why do I let it deteriorate my mental health right now? So that's one way to
Absolutely. I think you should never be bothered about opinions unless be only bothered about advices which is coming from your parents or people who love you, who know you. Only then it makes sense. Okay, otherwise it's just opinions, right? I can give an opinion on you without knowing right away, but does it matter? Am I giving an informed opinion? No, I'm just assuming. So that's more like assuming. So opinions are very loose, like they don't matter, they shouldn't matter, they're just opinions. That's what they're.
So the last thing that I'd like to ask you on a personal note is that you talked about, people telling you that no one will marry you if you, you'll play and you'll get dark. So what's your take on racism and how, dark humor is also playing a major role on social media? Because there are several perks of social media, but at the end of the day, dark humor is also one of them. And mental health is very much affected by seeing those memes and by seeing that dark humor. So how can people curb that? Because while taking the advantages of the social media, we come across certain things which might offend us. So how to go about it? How to keep ourselves safe from that?
You have to be confident in your skin. Okay, I mean, okay, I was standing, but look at my achievements. Like, are they matching the other person's opinion? Like, they're much more than that, right? So you have to, all these racism and I think people who are not well traveled, not well educated, indulge into all these racism and dark humor, and you should completely ignore it. Like you should just laugh at it. It's just someone who's bored and has no time to do constructive things in their life and has no purpose, is busy trying to hurt someone else. So all these dark humor memes, they jump out from the insecurities of those people. So I think you should pity them and move on. If you can, just tell them, if they ever want to talk, you are there, or just wish them good luck, that you hope they find their mental peace or happiness, whatever they're looking for, so that they can escape this tragedy of making memes and have nothing to look forward to in life. So just be, mental health is priority, because see, in the end it's going to be just you. Even your parents cannot tell when you're feeling what. So you have to take responsibility of your emotions, of how you feel, because that's very important aspect of your personality, and you have to take a responsibility of that and prioritize it more than anything else. So yes, so to anyone who feels disheartened or sad by looking at anything at social media, just do not. I mean, I'm sure you all have friends in your life. Go talk to them and read something, watch something nice. There are millions of things you can do rather than getting into that misery.
Absolutely right. I mean, what people are saying is actually a reflection of them, and how we react to that is a reflection of ourselves. So we have to care about that. So it was definitely a wonderful, session having you here and interacting with you. And I'm pretty sure to all the listeners and all the viewers, this will be something which they will, especially people who are young. So people who will listen to this podcast, they'll know that if they had doubts about how to respond to their parents or how to go about their dreams, this is the go-to for them. So anytime you feel that, you are being misled, or you are being demoralized, just, take a break, ask yourself, is this opinion of XYZ person going to matter or not? No. So that is their reflection, not your reflection, and move on and work on your dream, basically. So
absolutely. And do not let anyone tell you who you are, what you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do. You decide that for yourself and make an informed choice. That's all I would say.
Thank you so much, Tarika. It was lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much, Kendall. It was great.